Howdy, howdy, y'all. It is another I Am That episode. Another Maharaj episode. Solo one this time. Just, eh. I know y'all like Alex. I'm assuming y'all like Alex at least. Let me know if you want all the rest of them with him. I'm definitely willing to work with him and try to make that happen. But if you're okay with solo ones too, with just just little old me, let me know. Anyways, this is chapter 79. Person, witness, and the supreme. Well, first of all, yesterday was 420, so happy 420 for those who partake. And I just say that just because right off the bat, what I find funny is that there's a couple questioners here, at least probably at least two because they say we, but technically I guess could be more than two, right? So, but they just said they have like a long history of drug taking. Really, they sound like and I think they even kind of say it at one point. I don't remember they used the term hippie, but I think that's essentially what's implied. Like they're kind of like some of these like hippie type folks, and now they're in India, but they're like serious now about the spiritual search. Like it makes sense. This is like a tale that's pretty universally understood at this point. Like especially with the hippies and all that. I get it. I have a little bit of that myself, so no judgment. Just as its setup of what was going on. What I found really interesting. Normally, Maharaj waits until a little bit into the conversation. I've noticed with all these previous ones, he waits a little bit longer before mentioning his guru. But in this one, right away, you see him mentioning the guru, his guru. Like this, that's like the first thing he mentions. So I found that to be an interesting contrast to how he approached to how he approached other people, like other questioners and whatnot in the past. So and maybe there might have been a couple other chapters now I think of it where that happens, but I don't remember. I don't think so. Anyway, so and then he mentioned his guru and he died soon after. Like this chapter, I will say once again, there hasn't been a bad chapter yet, and this one continues that. Like I say, there has not been a single bad chapter yet. Definitely been some um that kind of just that just kind of more flow with the chapter. Then there's some that are much more like, whoa, what's going on here? There's some interest. There's it's like it's it's the difference between it's all the stat. It's like within the static you see boop boop boop, or you can just see like flat line. Sometimes you get a little bit flatline. Sometimes you get some little craziness. Some like, ooh, what's this? Either way, it's all good and it's all necessary. It's all part of the process. I think there's a reason why you have these chapters and whatnot. Like I said, and really going in deep into this book so far, like yeah, I get it. Only thing I would maybe a couple of those things I would change. For example, like in this one, especially if I don't know. For all I know, it's only one questioner talking, so maybe that's why they only have only bothered to have like one questioner. But if there is multiple questioners, it would be like good to have like a questioner one, questioner two. But for all I know, it's just one dude talking. So maybe that was the case. Uh, I'll just say though, in terms of the actual like meat and bones of what they're actually talking about, what I found really interesting. This one guy, definitely you can tell of he's just like because a lot of the stuff like the idea of cause and effect, how Maharaj addresses cause and effect. He challenges this guy's there's a bit of a grind going on there, right? There's a bit of a disagreement. So and then also at this point, there's an interesting one. Questioner, you cannot be aware yet unaffected. There is a contradiction in terms. Perception is change. Once you have experienced a sensation, memory will not allow you to return to the former state. I love how Maharaj responds to this. Yes, What is added to memory cannot be erased easily, but it can surely be done. And in fact, I am doing it all the time. Like a bird on wing, I leave no footprints. And then a lot of this, like as you can imagine, they talk about the witness and the supreme and comparing these things, and or at least talking about them and like what they, what they are. I really like. There's a particular metaphor that they talk about. Um, it's really more about to do with action. In fact, a lot of this, I will say, a lot of this thing, I will say, another thing up front. This chapter made me think a lot about Krishna, like my own personal spiritual growth and experience. That's a huge part I've been going through is Krishna. So I even wear these Tulsi beads when I can. Um, I mean, I don't really at work because I work with dogs and stuff, and they would wreck this. But when I can, I wear this because of Lord Krishna and what he means to me, and just all of this, especially when he talks about action. The way he talks about action just reminds me of so much of Krishna and what he talks about. Especially so, the questioner even asks, what is action? Maharaj, the universe is full of action, but there is no actor. There are numberless persons, small and big and very big, who through identification imagine themselves as acting, but it does not change the fact that the world of action, Madakash, Madakash, Mahadakash, is one single whole in which all depends on and all affects. The stars affect us deeply, and we affect the stars. Step back from action to consciousness. Leave action to the body and the mind. It is their domain. Remain as pure witness till even witnessing dissolves in the supreme. Imagine a thick jungle full of heavy timber. A plank is shaped out of the timber and a small pencil to write with. The witness reads the writing and knows that while the pencil and the plank are distantly related to the jungle, the writing has nothing to do with it. It is totally superimposed, and its disappearance does not matter. The dissolution of personality is followed always by a great sense of great relief, as if a heavy burden has fallen off. First of all, once again, Maharaj, the Nisargadatta Maharaj, really showing he's like the king of metaphors. This guy is so good with metaphors. I say this every time, and I just, he, like, because sometimes I'll be like, I'm not quite sure what you mean, but then he'll lay out a metaphor, and I'm like, gotcha. Like, now I get it. now the pieces come together there. And, yeah, I think with that metaphor, I think it's just a really good metaphor in helping understand, like, where, like, the role of each, like, the person versus the witness versus the supreme. Because obviously, I think you say, yeah, like, the supreme would be the thick jungle. The witness would be the writing, and the person's the person. So yeah, and also the material. Yeah, so you get it. Like the person's the person. Yeah. So, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's a really good metaphor. It helps, I think, understand like what the role of each is. But at the end of the day, like I do like how Nisargadatta Maharaj always is trying to remind us, like this is all they're all really just one, and these distinctions that we make are ultimately illusion. And I try to personally always remind myself of that as much as I can, especially as I've been going through my own personal journey. I always try to remind myself about this as much as possible because I think that's very vital. It's very important. Um, Anything else I want to say? I do like so the last question here that the questioner asks: how do I reach perfection? Maharaj, keep quiet. Do your work in the world, but inwardly keep quiet. Then all will come to you. Do not rely on your work for realization. It may profit others, but not you. Your hope lies in keeping silent in your mind and quiet in your heart. Realize people are very quiet. And also, I want to keep this in mind with something he says earlier when he says something like he talks about how there is sometimes a price. When you know that you're neither body nor mind, you will not be swayed by them. You will follow truth wherever it takes you, and do what needs to be done, whatever the price to pay. So I think both of these can be true. This is why I think we're in a weird age. And I think the fact that we have, I think, realized people, like Parshvamarana Vishwawanda and and Sadhguru and various other realized swamis and gurus and Dalai Lama, a number of these great enlightened folks who are just speaking, who are speaking out, who aren't being very quote unquote quiet. In their minds and their hearts, they're very quiet. They're at peace. That's what he means by the quiet. The quiet means the peace. You're at peace. But sometimes, duty calls. Duty says otherwise. Sometimes you are you are forced to be in the front lines of a war that you don't want to fight. But guess what? You gotta fight it. Because Krishna's at the head and saying like, hey, we gotta charge in. These are the enemy. So I think both of these are true. And especially in the times that we are in, sometimes even the most enlightened beings, we do, despite you have to manage to try to keep the quiet, but at the same time perform your duties. So it's a balancing act, and for each of us, we're just going to have to. That's why we got multiple lives, right? You just got find, you just got to do what you got. You just got to live your life the best you can. So that all being said, I hope you all have a good day. And like I said, happy for day late, but hope happy 420. And I hope everyone has a good rest of the weekend, rest of eternity. So namaste, Hare Krishna, peace.